for More Consulting podcast, episode 46. Our
Start
second week.
with why.
Yes, second week is start with why.
Is it only our second week?
Yeah, it is, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I feel like this might be our.
I thought it was the third week.
Last week May felt really long.
Now I have the Google Drive right here.
I believe you. I think I believe you. I just feel like.
I don't believe it.
I mean,
Maybe
okay.
it's not. Yeah. Oh, it's section 3.
This is our third week.
Yeah, third week. There you go. My bad.
Okay.
So every relationship has foundational elements that help them grow, but one of the most important ones is trust. Tonight we're going to talk about trust, and it'll apply to your friendships, your spouse, your kids, and then most importantly, he's going to really touch on the business world, and I think it's pretty cool, some of the things he says. So whether you're a manager, owner, or boss, or an employee, trust is the key. Welcome back, Adina.
Hey, I'm telling you what, we
Yeah.
can just jump right in, but you probably have some stuff we need to cover first.
No, I think that tonight's all about trust. He really does cover some really good things. If you are, again, a business owner, a boss, a manager, I think this chapter is really key.
Well, you
it's
said
something
it.
you can share.
Yeah, just at the beginning, but I feel like this specific section really is a lot about relationships, which we always touch on relationships, but this one, especially with trust, I found myself like thinking about people in my life that I have a relationship with, but I'm not really friends with them, and how to build that trust to gain that influence, you know, in their life. So, and of course, always, you know, at work. But yeah, this was really good.
Yeah, we sometimes call it pocket change.
Pocket change.
Little things like that where you build trust with people.
You had, okay, so you've called it something else. Last time we did on one of the episodes, you didn't call it pocket change, you called it
Capital.
currency,
Leadership capital.
yeah.
Yeah,
I kind of
so
like that.
relational capital, meaning you're gonna have to cash that in at some point.
Yeah. So like we said, this
Yeah.
is our third week doing Simon Sinek's Start With Why. So if this is your first time, go back and listen to the other two, and always go back and listen to episode 1 or episode 26.
27.
27.
Yes,
Dang it.
Adina
See, that's what
calls
happens.
shots.
But it's not in the notes.
Yeah, we're definitely not going to read the entire book, and you really want to go, purchase this. And I think what I told someone today, actually Adam Adams from Pro Wired Electric, shout out to him. But what I told him today is, I'm just trying to go back through this with Made for More in mind and writing things down. So
Okay, at some point, if we're gonna like call out names and businesses, they need to become our sponsor. Like we're gonna be like, you're gonna pay us to say your name. Oh yeah,
Adam,
I know
sorry,
Adam
bro.
listens. Come on, Adam.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah,
we're big enough to have a sponsor.
we are. We're
See,
good.
Adam
So Slime's
Adams,
gonna
Pro
start.
Wire. He's gonna be our first.
We should do an ASMR eating slab barbecue so people can hear us eat and watch. Yeah.
We should do an episode from Slab. We've talked about that.
Yeah, after they close. And
No, it'd be more fun to do it while people were
you
around.
think so?
Yeah,
Just
for
spit all over
sure.
the place. Okay. Well, section 3 is called Leaders Need a Following and the emergence of trust. So if leaders need a following, he's going to talk a lot about how to get people to follow you. Really, this section is all about trust. And I believe chapter 7 is not going to have that much to say. But chapter 6, the emergence of trust. There's several key statements that he uses in this chapter, and it all goes back to trust. Relationship between a boss and employee, or a leader and an employee. So remember, not just boss and employee, but being a leader. You cannot have, and listen to what he says here, you cannot have a good product without people who like coming to work. Today I talked about that. So let me ask you, so if your people do not like coming to work, and you have a great product, do you think that you're gonna sell it?
I think people think they are.
Like,
I
what do
really
you
do.
mean? What do you
Because
mean?
I
So
think
you
that
mean the boss thinks
I
they're
do.
gonna-
I think that people undervalue culture
Yeah.
and how their staff is feeling. You know, he uses like Continental in here and how,
Yep.
and they were a major airline. And so, and I mean, could they have been better? Yes, they started losing money, but I think that that's why so many businesses aren't operating to their full potential. It's because I think people do think it doesn't matter if the employees want to come to work.
Yeah.
You know?
But, and then what's funny is if the boss has trust and he builds a culture of trust, people want to come to work and want to sell a product. And he talks about mud traveling downhill pretty quick. So if you're throwing mud on your employees, meaning like you don't trust them, then do you think the employees are going to trust the customers.
Well,
Not the customers are going to trust them.
Right,
No
well,
way.
I think that what's gonna happen is that your employees, they don't give 110%.
Mhm.
So ends up they're giving, 50, 60%, they're like,
Or they're
whatever.
going to call in,
Mhm.
right? Yeah,
So they have no ownership.
exactly. Yeah, so trust is key. If a manager, or boss, or owner, you have a killer project, but you aren't too, right now, if you're not too sure why it's not working, or maybe you're going, hey, why are we not selling enough? I think you got to ask yourself, how am I treating my employees? Do they feel like safe, honestly? Do they feel safe? Do they feel they have that you have trust for them, and do you take care of them? I think one of the biggest things that we've talked about before, not just in this book, is people have they want to feel safe, right?
Mhm.
Because of that circle of safety. I think he's the one that talked about it in Leaders Eat Last.
Yeah.
Creating the circle of safety, making sure that your people trust one another, not just the boss. So when trust is there, people feel safe, and when they feel safe, they'll give you more of their time. So
Well, and I think overall, just as a boss, just you want to be a good person and, make that relationship with your employees.
yeah. So he says one of the things, and I think, and I put trust is not, and he says it's not a checklist. You cannot just grow or go down a list expecting to do these certain things and expect your team to trust you.
Well, and right underneath that, he says trust is a feeling, not a rational experience.
Yep.
And that made me think about how many times, as a leader, you go to a training or you read a book or whatever, and they're like, just do this with your employees and they'll work harder, they'll be better, And I like that he's like, it doesn't have to be rational. You can check off everything that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But because it's a feeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But the other thing is too, is like we've said, this is what's funny, is it goes with intentions, that you and I can smell intentions from a mile away. So if the boss is trying to grow trust, but it's just halfway, and they go, he's just trying to get something out of me, he's just going down his list, it's probably not genuine. And if it is, then you probably need to work more on your, completely away from work, just try to gain the trust. Or how do you do that? So if you're a
It
boss,
goes back
how
to
do you gain
relationship.
trust?
I think we've talked about it on several different, episodes in the past, but it's all about a relationship. It's all about asking the questions about their personal life. It's about asking how can I help you? How can I serve you? What can I do for you? Not just as an employee, but as an individual. And it's coming in as a boss with that attitude.
Yeah, I think that if you're gonna gain trust, if you're somebody right now listening, how do I gain trust with someone? Yeah, I just think you meet with them. It's not about meetings. I think get your mind out of the negative place of it's gotta be another meeting. No, it's like getting to know them. I mean, I think.
And I think I think that getting to know that just comes with time.
Yeah.
It's spending time with them.
Yeah. So with trust comes value. When your team feels valued, guess what? They in return will add value to your team, product, and their relationship with you. So again, if they want to be valued through trust, and then they feel that, they're going to in turn sell your product better because they have this culture of trust with you. It brings them value. They feel accepted. They feel safe. But again, if they don't feel safe, it's not going to go well. He begins to talk about creating a team of people who feel as if they belong. So how do you hire and show people this is a place where trust lives and where they belong? You want to read that first quote?
The goal is not to hire a skill set, but to hire people who believe what you believe, who want to be a part of the why. Great companies don't hire skilled people that motivate them. They hire people who are already motivated and inspire them. Did you did you read that, the part, I know you read it, but do you remember the part in there where he talked about how Southwest started hiring?
The cheerleaders?
Yes, and they started what their model person ended, they didn't intentionally hire cheerleaders, and what was it?
It was because they had go-go boots. Or
whatever. But that was who they attracted, and then they realized, oh wait a minute, these people, because of who they are naturally motivating. So then they went and intentionally hired people that had a more motivational.
Yeah, and it worked. Right?
And it worked.
Yeah, so you're hiring. What did he say? You're definitely not hiring
for their
skilled
skill.
people. Yeah, you're hiring people who are already motivated, and then you inspire them because they already have that skill. They're just going, hey, I think I fit here. I believe what they do, and then you go, hey, inspire them, and they're gonna rise to that expectation
Right.
all the time, I believe.
I thought that was such a good example of they kind of stumbled onto it and they thought, wait a minute, there's something really good here. What is it?
Yeah.
And I think oftentimes in business, people don't stop and reflect on that.
Yeah, and I think if you and I put a wanted out for an employee or we're hiring, it's, hey, here's what we require of you to be, or what we need you to bring to the table, or what qualifications. And that is under the whole realm of what and how. And what he's trying to get to is you have to hire for why. Show them why you're hiring. Show them why that you want them to be a part of your team, so that they're inspired already to go, look, I want to be a part of that. It was like that guy that tried to sail across to Antarctica, right?
Yes, that's what the quote I was looking for,
it
because
was crazy
that made
because
me laugh.
He said, do you want to just say, hey, you know what? I need a few men who want to go here, and you know it's going to be cold, and here's what you need to bring. No, he said, if you're someone who's out for danger, do you have it?
Yeah, it says, so yeah, he was talking about how if you would write a job description based on finding people who believed like you believed. And the first one said that men needed for expedition, minimum 5 years experience, must know how to hoist mainsail, come work for a fantastic captain. But he's like, how you're going to get the people that stick with you and believe in you this was the job description.
This is how you want to write a job description.
Yes, men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. And you know what? People signed up.
Yeah, and then
they went with him.
Shipwrecked. 8 months they were out there for no one. A few of them got on those rafts, went back inland, came back, saved them, and it was over a year or whatever that no one died though.
That's what they said.
They all enjoyed it.
Nobody died, but
Why?
because they believed the same thing.
Yeah, and here's the trust though, is you've seen the movie Alive, or what was the one where the plane wrecks and they eat each other?
Okay, yeah.
Do you remember that? Was it Alive? I can't remember. But that's the thing, is these guys didn't resort to killing each other and going into cannibalism, because they trusted one another. They were built for this, and they said, we can survive. So you have to go after people who believe what you believe. I think this made me think of, Alive, made me think of us to go, one, we're not getting, I'm making a living, I can't pay you guys yet, but we're working together. And it made me think that there's some people out there that would go, hey, I want to join the team. And we're not just going to say, hey, yeah, everybody's a part of the team. But there's people that are going, I think of Jay, to go, he breathes and lives out what we believe. And he doesn't partner with us yet, but he tells us, hey, this is awesome. Several people that are listeners that go, that's what I want to be a part of. And I think you build that culture by going, we've got to build trust with our listeners in whatever we do. And it's that. We're not saying, hey, if you listen, we need you. And at the end, yes, we say, hey, we need you to leave a review and all that. But we're not starting out with, hey, if you're listening, we need you to pay $15 to keep this podcast on. No, we're trying to build this way of living, of made for more, motivate, inspire each other. Yeah, so it's something bigger. Listen to this next quote. He says, average companies give their people something to work on. So think about that. There's tons of companies out there that give everyone, when they come to work, something to work on. In contrast, the most innovative companies give their people something to work towards. The role of a leader is not to come up with the great ideas. The role of a leader is to create an environment in which great ideas can happen. And great ideas come from culture where trust exists and trust is taking place. Apple. He goes off on Apple, right?
What I noticed, which, I'm only halfway through the book, but I think he has mentioned Apple in every single chapter in a little bit different way. So for sure, Apple was one of the big ones.
And this was before homeboy died. What's his name? Steve Jobs. But it's cool because Apple is so cutting edge that they can be in the same lane as Microsoft or Dell, have the same product, and they're going to outsell them all the time, because they think different of how can we make this cultural to the people that want it, and how can we build trust with them that this is going to be the best, but it's going to change your life. It's not just going to be a laptop. It's going to change your life. You're going to look cool, and people buy it.
Look cool.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we said before. Also, with Leaders Eat Last, when people feel protected, they create an environment, a great environment in which, again, trust creates a great organization. With a great organization comes great quality of work. And when you have great quality of work, you sell more, you do more, and it all starts with trust. So there's this, is your book the same as mine?
I don't know.
I hope so, because I'd love for you to read that. It's on the bottom of page 110.
This one, mine starts with, I use the military because it exaggerates the point.
Yes.
Trust matters.
So start with trust matters right there, yeah.
Okay. Trust matters. Trust comes from being a part of a culture or organization with a common set of values and beliefs. Trust is maintained when the values and beliefs are actively managed. If companies do not actively manage work to keep their golden circle in balance, clarity, discipline, and consistency, then trust starts to break down. A company, indeed, any organization, must work actively to remind everyone why the company exists. Why it was founded in the first place, what it believes. They need to hold everyone in the company accountable to the values and guiding principles. It is not just enough to write them on a wall. That's passive. Bonuses and incentives must revolve around them. The company must serve those with whom they wish to serve.
So yeah, I think it just goes back to saying that trust is going to be built when you show the why and the circle of, you start with why and then how and then what, and you got to keep those in balance, but you have to remind people the why all the time so that you can build trust and you go, hey, that's what we're going after. That's what's at the center of every single thing that we do. And he says the feeling of trust is lodged surely in the same place as why, the limbic brain, and it's often powerful enough to trump empirical research or at least seed doubt. So when you have trust, it's that what you said earlier. It's a feeling.
It's a feeling.
It's a feeling of like feeling good. It's, hey, this person trusts me. They believe in me. You feel safe and you do more. So it is a feeling. If your team does not feel trust, I think you got to look at your culture and say, what is going on here? What can I take ownership in, and how can we change this?
Well, I think that is a time when, if you're in a situation where you don't even know if your team trusts you, just ask. Ask
It's
around.
scary.
It is scary. But if you really want to get to, the next level, you're gonna have to address the hard things and tackle the hard issues, which whether it's culture or trust or, and everybody's motivated a little bit differently. And here he talked about at Southwest, they said, if we meet this goal, we're gonna give everybody a $65 bonus, and I'm like, $65, for like, you have to meet it for a whole month, but they also told them the why behind it. If we can have the turnaround this many minutes, then we don't have to buy another plane, which is $1 billion. And so we are saving money. We're saving $5 million a month.
Yeah.
Okay. But I think it made everybody work together. It gave them all a common goal, and they did it.
Mm-hmm. And it was only $67.
Yeah, it was like nothing.
Like a bonus. But again, it rallied people behind the why.
And I love he talked about how he had them print a separate check, not just add it to their salary, but print a separate check to say, thank you, this is what this is for. And I thought, that's a good leader.
Yeah, and the other thing that he uses, I know he uses Apple a lot, but he uses MLK a lot, Martin Luther King, and the feeling that if we're talking about trust, not everybody knew who he was, but he provided trust because of his why. Like, I can believe in that. And then the people that marched with him, whether they were white, black, brown, whatever, they felt this feeling of trust because they were after the same goal. And what was the same goal? They all had a dream, and the dream was to bring unity amongst people. And it was the why. That was the why. How did they do it? They marched, but then there was other things that they had to do. So trust, again, bottom line is trust in an organization. And I think you're gonna have to ask yourself, as a leader, do I have the trust of my team? And if you don't, man, that's a tough place to be.
Well, I also think about, as a leader, do you trust your team?
Yep.
I think it goes both ways.
It does, because
if you don't trust if you can really honestly ask, do I trust my team? And the answer is no, then they probably don't trust you either, because trust is a reciprocal thing.
It is, and I think, and there's all kinds of signs of, I think on the positive side, signs of trust are you're innovative, everybody's pulling together, I got your back, you have my back, when the communication's open, we can work together.
Well, and I think knowing that if I mess up, or if I'm even gonna like risk like having a new idea, that's gonna be taken with like with trust and respect, and you know, you should never be afraid that you're gonna make a mistake.
Yeah,
you know?
you're right. Or be afraid when someone comes around and you go, oh crap, this isn't good. And then again, you can think of the opposite. If there isn't trust, it's the total opposite. No one has ideas, like you said. People are afraid. I think micromanagement exists. I think the trust is just you're waiting on someone to tell you what to do. So
Yes, absolutely.
chapter 7, he says how a tipping point tips. And when he's talking about a tipping point, this is just interesting. I guess it doesn't really. I mean, it didn't like send an aha moment.
No, but you know what's interesting is that in like the last week, this is like the third time I've read this. So like, for whatever reason, I feel like it's all of a sudden it's like back out there.
Yeah.
You know. So
he talks about the bell curve, and it goes from left to right, but in the middle that bell goes up, and he says at the very beginning of the bell curve, on the left side, 2.5% are called the innovators. These are people who innovate a new way, they change the world, the way the world does something. It's like Apple. It's not Colgate, because Colgate hasn't changed us the way we feel about each other. They just put freaking toothpaste
36 types of toothpaste out
there.
there.
Innovators make up 2.5 of the bell curve. And then it goes up and it says 13.5 are called early adopters. They'll stand in line to wait for something. They'll sacrifice something to get a product. Did you ever do that?
No.
Nothing?
No, but I don't have that. No.
Really?
No.
I stood in
My
line for a
time is
phone.
too purposeful.
Oh my gosh.
That's a way. Now I would pay somebody to stand in line.
No.
But I cannot.
Yeah, I stood in line for one of the iPhones, and then to get into one of the new academies. One academy opened, we were like first in line.
Yeah, and I have done that, like first store.
HEB open. Brand new HEB. Have
Dude,
y'all
I
been?
was there. Oh, heck yeah!
Mark said
Like
it was small.
day one.
A buddy of mine said it was smaller than he thought, and that he just was like, it's okay.
It's just an HEB.
Okay. Did they give away anything funny? Fun? Not funny. Fun.
No, they did all their
That's
community
lame.
giveaways the day before.
That's lame. Okay, so then it goes innovators 2.5, early adopters 13.5, and here's the I guess one of the biggest parts is early majority 34%. They will try something or buy something once someone else has they trust has tried it. So the early majority makes up 34%. I'm willing to go try this because Adina, I trust her, and she says, hey, you need to go try this or go eat here. And then there's a late majority who they want what you have, but they're just gonna wait. And maybe they're the ones that go, hey, I'm gonna wait till the price goes down, or I'm gonna wait till the iPhone 12 comes out, or hey, it's gonna go on sale at some point, late majority. And then, well, how do you say that? The laggards?
Laggards, that's my favorite word.
Oh my gosh.
Laggards.
It's 16%. So basically, they have to buy it because the old one is like discontinued.
Yeah, so when I was telling you that I've read about this in a couple different ways, I was reading about this with a leadership aspect, and it was when you are like casting a new vision for people, and what they talked about, which I'm assuming it's probably the same in here, is that most leaders and most companies, when they're like solving a problem, they focus on the late majority and the laggards. Like they're trying to give you every reason why you should buy this. And you know, they're trying to convince you.
Yeah.
And what this book was saying was you should always put all of your effort into the innovators, early adopters, and early majority.
Yeah.
Because that creates way more momentum.
Yeah. And as a leader, that's what I mean. Well, as a boss or manager,
yeah.
That's what he's saying.
So yeah, if you're rolling out something new, don't worry. The people, the late majority of the laggards, let them go. Leave them behind.
It's the influence. I mean, and nowadays they're called influencers.
Focus
right?
on the people that are going to make the difference and that are going to get behind you early because your momentum will increase.
Yes, and I think I don't know how many times I've tried something because someone said, "Hey, have you done this? Have you tried that?" Yeah, and it's the same for us. If we're going to roll something out, I think we let our influencers who share things, who say things, and we tell them, hey, we're going to roll this out, you mind checking this out? And I think that's going to happen in 2022 when we do some new things. But he wants you to focus on the early adopters and early majority, key them in and go, hey, we need to make sure that they get this, because if we build trust with them, they're in turn going to become our influencers and they trust who we are.
Well, yeah, and the early adopters, like they'll pretty much do anything that you say.
Yep.
You know,
Because of your fan, their
Yep.
trust. Yeah, there's loyalty there, right?
for sure.
And I said, listen to this. When you start with why, those who believe what you believe are drawn to your for very personal reasons. It is those who share your values and beliefs, not the quality of your products, that will cause the system to tip.
Yep.
Your role in the process is to be crystal clear about what purpose, cause, or belief you exist to champion, and to show how your product and services help advance that cause. So really, he's saying, if you can focus on what your purpose is, what your cause is, what your belief is, like what you're going to go after, whatever that product is, they're going to buy it, but they believe in you. They believe in what you're doing and why you do it, not the what, not the how. They believe in why you exist. So
For sure.
again, Martin Luther King did this. He was somebody, people marched because they knew they wanted human rights for all colors, not just blacks, but they marched with him. That was the why. How and what they did was march, but when people marched, it was because they believed in the values this man was going after. That's innovation, and he took the system. He found that place where people go, I believe in this, I believe in him, I believe in what he's doing, so I'm gonna march. And that took the system where he goes, wherever he went, people followed. And what's weird is I don't have very many religious examples on this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
But think about Jesus. He totally flipped the system on the Pharisees, and he did things backwards, and he tipped that system to go.
For sure.
He was an influencer, and they followed him.
Because he had a why. He knew his why.
Yeah.
You know, and he's you could probably write a whole chapter on that.
Right, because, and then the
How Jesus
Pharisees
knew
or
his
whatever,
why.
if you read about it at all, they were so concerned about the what. This is what you have to do. This is how you have to do it.
Yep.
The old way of doing things. And he's going, no, there's a new way, and here's why.
Here's why.
I brought this. And so there's the whole why, the how, and then the what. And he changed this. He just changed the game. I know my stomach's growling. So I think we can do the same thing, but it takes starting with why. And again, I think the biggest part of this is where he says, your role in the process is to be crystal clear about the purpose, cause, or belief you exist to champion. And I thought about us, and I keep thinking the word potential keeps coming to mind. And the gap between potential and action is where I think Made for More fills the gap, is to go, we want to hear what you think you can do, and we want to give you the resources to be the person you need to be, but you have to jump. We can supply the motivate, the inspire, the encourage with the stories and all that. And we have all the systems that we can bring to the table, the how and the what, but we want to help you find your why. But our why is to go, we got to bridge that gap to help people see that the potential that they have can be reached every single day. It just takes steps. So, yeah, that's crazy. So trust, it was all about trust in this section. If you're a leader or again, a manager or a boss, or if you're a parent, and do the people around you trust you? So we have some action steps.
Yeah, I think just questioning, like, how are you building trust within your team? And you kind of touched on it earlier. I think time is a big one of those.
But write them out, right? So if you and I said that, I think time, which is I sit together an hour and a half with some of my team, my leaders.
Doing what you say you're gonna do.
I mean, write down their birthdays, write down important things to them. And I know those are systematically going, hey, they're going to be on my calendar. But if you are who you say you are, those are the things you care about with them.
Well, I also think it goes with how you react when something doesn't go the right way. I think that's big. I really do. That
that's the beginning of this podcast.
That's a big. Well, we knew that's how you were going to react. But I mean, but as a leader, if I came to you and said, "Oh man, like something came up and I can't make it to podcast," you wouldn't yell and shame me. You would be like, "Oh man, hey, is everything okay? Like, what do you need?"
Exactly.
And I think that kind of reaction builds trust.
Yeah, it's that whole believing the best, and if you do believe the best, people catch on to that, and And so how are you building trust with your team? Like, be tangible, write down tangible ways. The second action step is, this one's, I mean, again, as a leader or even as an employee, why should people trust you? Like, why should I trust you? Again, I think what you said, Adina, was I do what I say I'm going to do. And I think in that case, some people need to learn to say no. Like, I know it's hard for some people to say no,
Yes.
but you can lose trust if you say, yeah, I'll be there. And then you don't because you're double booked because you can't say no to multiple people.
And go back, even if I was, every time we were recording, if I was not showing up or telling you I couldn't come every single week, then I'm not building trust with you, you know, and so it does go both ways.
Yeah. As a kid, do you remember, I think the number one reason my parents didn't trust me was as simple as, hey, you didn't call us when you got there, and we told you to. And we didn't have to find my kids or track my family.
No, you had to be like, hey, can ask your mom if I could use the phone.
Yeah, you did. And that was the way it was. Yeah, you had to use a freaking landline and say, hey, mom, dad, I made it. But that built trust because they go, hey, one, he listened, two, he got there. And I'll never forget, sometimes I didn't. And I got home and they were like, you never told us where you were. And then the trust broke down because they were like, were you over there? Were you over here? Where were you? Well, I was where I said I was. We never told us.
Yeah, you can't prove it.
And it's that, again, why should people trust you? That's one of the things can you think of any other ones? I mean, it's as simple as trust. So are you building trust or are you breaking trust?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a simple episode.
It is,
simple,
I know.
How do they say it? It's easy but not simple, or is it simple?
It's simple
but
not easy. It's simple but not easy.
And trust takes time. Like, you can't rush the process of trust, right?
Nope.
That's what's frustrating.
No, but I think as a leader, there are things that you can do to kind of set it up. In the book, he talks about one of the airline executives, I think it was Continental, when he came in, the airline was like the 20th floor, nobody could get up there, they had security, like it was a whole
you had a
thing.
key card to get in.
Yes, and he was like, no,
open it up for
people
everybody.
can get guests, come, I'm available to you.
Open door policy. And I think you reminded me, another one is, hey, if you're the owner of a business, they should see you get your hands dirty. You're never too high to go, hey, I'm gonna go wash dishes, or hey, I'm gonna throw the trash, or
I'm in this with you.
Yeah.
And that's what they talked about, how he would, CEO, he would go down on the tarmac and ship bags with them.
Yep, that's right. He was
dude, what do you need? If I can fill in for a little bit, then that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. And I think one of the examples I've seen, they were doing the Slab grand opening.
Another sponsor.
Yeah, grand opening. Slab grand opening, and I saw the owners. I mean, one of them was washing dishes, saying, "Here, let me help you with that. You go bust. I'm gonna wash these dishes." And he was washing dishes. The other one was throwing the trash. And
I was trying to have them let me bust the tables, but they weren't having it.
Yeah. So again, how are you building trust with your team, and why should people trust you? Just write those things down, knock those out.
Yeah.
Share some of those, and then in closing, I mean, we gotta.
I don't even want to say about merch every week, because we come every week, and every week we're like, wow. So we're not even going to mention it, not until we have some new merch available.
We're not doing it. Please take it. No.
We should just give it away.
No, because people paid for that. Not like people paid to have it made. I'm saying people already paid for those shirts, and now they're going to go, hey, can I get a refund? Because now you're giving them away.
Well, I don't know. Well, no, I just learned that incentives are manipulation, so we are not going to.
Yeah, no.
Share this post.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Come on.
Yes. If you don't forward this email, Made for More is gonna
combust.
Find you.
Not be here anymore.
Follow us on the socials. Instagram, Twitter.
Give us a rating. I still can't figure out how to do it, but I'm sure y'all are smart.
We have 19. I think it's just crazy. I think where I listen to iTunes, it's cool because we have 5-star, and it just helps us in the flow of things. And when you type in Made for the number 4, it automatically populates.
Well, you know what's interesting is today on one of the social medias, somebody said hey, what podcast do you listen to? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna see if any of our people that listen to Made for More
did they
put it up there. Well, at the time there was only 2 comments, and I didn't. So I'm like, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna look and see.
That's what I would say.
Because I started to say it, but I was like, no, I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna see if anybody else says it.
Yeah, there's 2 cool stories this week on that. We were heading to Dallas. Dan, he's a new guy. Dan, the new man, and then John Bang Bang Evans. We were headed to Dallas on Sunday night, and we stopped in the middle of nowhere. I don't even know where we were at a QT. John's like, hey, can you stop at Quick Trip? So we stopped, and we're getting all kinds of junk food. And I get up there, and John said, hey man, and he was looking, I had my phone up, and it said that we had over 4,500 downloads or whatever. At the time, that's when it popped up and said, congrats, you have 4,500 downloads. And the boy, he was a boy, he was like high school. He said, you have 4,500 downloads on your podcast? I was like, yeah. And John goes, yeah, man. And then Dan was like, this guy has his own podcast. The kid goes, what's it called? Busts out his phone, looks it up, and says, I'm going to listen to this. He goes, right now, the only thing I listen to is Joe Rogan because it's Joe Rogan. I was like, yeah, well, we're no Joe Rogan, bro.
Hey now.
Then he goes, I'm going to take a listen to it. What's it about? And that's when John and Dan chimed in and said, hey, it's about leadership and personal development. And he goes, hey, I'm going to check that out. So, and then my
awesome.
daughter, Sam had someone that was just like saying, hey, my dad listens to your dad talk on the phone when he's in the car. And I was like, I don't call anybody. She was like, no.
The
he listens to
yeah.
the podcast while he was driving. I was like, hey, that's cool.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, follow us. And don't forget the Lowdown this past week was about 30, 60, 90. And that was that's one of the most probably requested, hey, how do you do 30, 60, 90? What was crazy was it was a 10-minute podcast, like straight to the point, and it's easy.
Okay, I'm gonna go listen to it.
It's easy.
I will listen to the Lowdown.
Yeah, please
Because
do.
I'm not on it.
But you're gonna have to do
You don't
one.
listen to the things
Like,
that you're on
seriously,
either.
You're about to have to be. You're gonna have to do one because I think everybody should lead a Lowdown.
You're
It's-
so good at it.
Okay, really? Now you're just saying that. That's just manipulating the process.
Manipulation. Okay, these
so
poor
yeah.
people are like just hanging on, waiting for us to say goodbye.
Hey, it's not even that.
Because they're gonna say, but I feel like they can't hang up until you say remember.
No, not yet. Did we get Amanda her shirt?
Yes,
Amanda got a free shirt.
she posted
Why
about
did
it
she get a
too.
free shirt? Oh yeah, why did she get a free shirt again? I forgot.
She left us a review.
Oh yeah,
See,
there you go.
listen, leave us a review and Etiana will pick one this week.
Yes, yeah. Leave us a review on iTunes.
And really what we should do is we should just surprise people. Instead of saying like, leave us a review and we'll do this, we should just like randomly go in and just go
Get
back and
somebody
say,
and just
hey,
send them a shirt.
I just
I
want to
agree.
say thanks.
Yeah.
You know?
There's been a couple people
Yeah.
today. Somebody was wearing her hat, and then a bunch of
Well,
people.
somebody today came in with a Made for More shirt on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
and I was like, it's Made for More Thursday.
I always tell them, hey, nice shirt, and then
Yeah.
everybody looks around.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, I appreciate that. We appreciate the support. I appreciate you guys sharing some of the things that you do. Go back, listen to the Lowdown, and remember, you exist for more. You're here to offer more. Don't ever give up. Every single one of us is made for more. Later. Dang, that was short.
That's
That's
good.
good.
Okay, let me download
Anything
this
for
one real
YouTube?
quick. Oh, what
Love
up?
YouTube.
Yeah, thank y'all.
Ears,
I'm
my
gonna.
ears itch.
I know. I'm gonna cut the
The
beginning because I just.
Lost
Yeah.
your vain mind.
Anyways,
You should let people see the real you.
that is the real
That's
me. But
leadership right there.
46, episode 46.
Remember that time we talked about detaching so that like when, if you were to look back at yourself in that meeting,
Peace.
would you feel
It's
like
called
a
the
fool?
Jade effect. Jaden. Yeah, guys, have a good one.
Zip it.
Later.
Yeah.
You want to cut it real quick or just hit stop?
No.
Would you please? I wish I could do that thing that you do on your phone.
I know, I'm really cool.
But
I'm so
which
cool.
one is that? Is it the
30.
phone or is it the watch?
The
The
watch
watch.
is like the camera remote.